Back everybody to a slightly cloudy Snetterton for the next round of the Avon Tyres, a National Formula 4 Championship. As you can see, they're just leaving the holding area out for their next race. They had a race yesterday, they've got two lined up today. Alex Walker has one hand on the championship, but he can still be overturned. Still a great battle behind Chris Middlehurst and Maxwell Easterton, all fighting for positions as well. We'll be handing over to our commentary box shortly, but there's a lot of action here. The sun may have gone, but nothing is dampening the spirits of our drivers. Back over to the commentary box, and Scott.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, welcome to those watching on the National Formula 4 stream for the second race of the final weekend of competition for the 2021 Avon Tyres National Formula 4 Championship. And this race potentially could see us provisionally, and we stress the word provisionally, crown our 2021 champion, because as in the rules, you cannot drop any scores from the final three races of the year, as in the final meeting, which is these three races here at Snetterton. Essentially, if we get a similar result to yesterday, where Alex Walker wins, we believe provisionally, according to the calculations that we've got, that he will essentially wrap up the 2021 title, because then it will give it will kind of put, in terms of point scores, both Chris Middlehurst and Max Esterton slightly too much out of range to be able to do anything, even if Alex wins the race and then goes ahead and picks up, and either Chris Middlehurst or Max Esterton picks up a race victory. But we'll clarify connotations as the race goes on. But let's look at the grid as a result of yesterday's Race 1 results. So Alex Walker, championship leader and Race 1 winner, starts on pole, ahead of it alongside Invitational class driver and modern Formula 4 legend Niall Murray, who's in second on the grid. Then it's Jamie Sharp and Thomas Mills, followed by Chris Middlehurst and Max Esterton, two contenders fighting for the championship and with each other for second place in points. Lucas Romanek starts 7th, alongside Carter Williams in an all-Oldfield Motorsport 4th row. Row 5 sees Andre Castro, one of two of the Team USA scholarship drivers here this weekend, the other being Max Esterton. He starts 9th, alongside fellow North American Megan Gilchrist, former W Series driver. Joey Foster disappoints 11th, so we'll see if he can work through from the 6th row of the grid. He'll be alongside Andre Lafond. Then Morgan Quinn and Benjamin Cochran start on the 7th row of the grid, ahead of the final couple of rows, which is taken up by Colin Queen, who retired yesterday, Adam Corspain, who also hit troubles. And then right at the back of the grid, in 17th place, is going to be Jeremy Fairbairn, who is another one of the young American drivers coming across to get some practice before the end of month spectacular that will be the 50th Formula Ford Festival. A bumper entry of cars with over 90 currently entered at this moment in time. It's going to be a fantastic way to round off the BRCC's Formula Ford year, as it always is. So, given the fact that we put in the result for the current top three in the championship from yesterday, the win and the pole position for two pole position points for Alex Walker gave him 34 points from that first race. It was then 22 points for fifth for what I think was possibly 4th or 5th position yesterday, and then it was 5th position I think for Max Esterton. I'll double check the results because there might have been a possible amendment, but we'll have a look at that given the fact that Middlehurst started 5th and Esterton started in 6th position. Forgive me, slightly working this out on the fly after the results that we had. So Jeremy Fairbairn and some of the good results. Right, so yes, no, that is correct, because Niall Murray, we should mention, is one of 4 drivers this weekend who is a guest driver, which means that as a guest driver, you might qualify for event awards like get a trophy for finishing 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, but you are ignored for the purpose of point scoring. So even though Alex Walker won the race, Niall Murray was 2nd. And Jamie Sharp was 3rd on the road. Because Niall Murray was a guest driver and is invisible for point scoring, it then means that Jamie Sharp essentially is given 2nd place, if you like, in terms of point scoring, and everyone else moves up 1 spot. So that means that Chris Middlehurst and Max Esterton finished 5th and 6th on the road, but they were 4th and 5th in terms of cars that could score points, which therefore means they get the points for 4th place and 5th place, and essentially counting Niall Murray as invisible in that race, if you like, although he is there still as a guest and still looking pretty strong in 2nd on the front row of the grid. That means that from those results, Alex Walker with that pole position time meant that he got that one. Now, Chris Middlehurst did get the fastest lap of the race as well. You get 32 points for a win, 27 for 2nd, you get 24 for 3rd, 22 for 4th, and then 24 for 5th. Chris Middlehurst did get the fastest lap of the race as well, which means he gets an extra 2 points, which means that 24 points from that first race today means that he is currently, look at his right at the moment, he's currently showing as 38 points on drops, including drop scores, from all the rounds up to the end of Alton Park. And he's also 4 points ahead on drop scores, ahead of Max Esterson. So that means now that essentially Esterson has to try and keep himself ahead of Middlehurst as much as he can and take points away. But of course, both of them have to hope that Alex Walker doesn't have a great race here and essentially non-scores and has a really bad result to gain points back and to keep the championship fight alive all the way through into the rest of it. So what essentially needs to happen is that if there's a possibility that if Alex Walker ends this second race after the points are put in by at least a 34-point gap, as far as I can probably work out in my head here, and again, these are all provisional, so don't take it as gospel, we believe, for looking at it, it should be enough to put the title just about out of reach. Now, they're going to give the cars a second green flag, that because there has, of course, been a little bit of rain and drizzle this morning, so a little bit of different track conditions. The track temperature will be different, the air temperature will be different as well. That means that it'll be trickier on tyres to try and keep up their temperatures and pressures as best as possible. So there's Jamie Sharp. Jamie Sharp, who took his first ever National Formula Ford race victory back at Anglesey. And he'll be looking to try and impress from starting from third on the grid for the second row for him. So he wants to try and pick his way through if he can. Watch out for Thomas Mills as well, who yesterday, if you watch yesterday's race, put on quite a clinical defensive effort to try and hold up the likes of Chris Middlehurst. It was a very similar job that he put in when we last saw them on a live stream at Brands Hatch, where Alex Walker was able to pull away and Thomas Mills played a perfect role as rear gunner to hold back the likes of Chris Middlehurst, Max Eston and everyone else, but it was done in perfect textbook defensive driving rather than blocking or weaving. It was perfectly positioned, kept the car in all the right places at all the right times and prevented Alex's main championship rivals from getting involved, possibly trying to stay points away from him in the process. So Thomas Mills, essentially, if he can get himself through, given the fact that he starts on the second row of the grid, he'll need to try and get a good start and then try and hold back both Chris and Max, because he knows that if he can keep them at bay in 5th and 6th and keep them fighting amongst each other and him, or it gives a maximum possible chance for Alex Walker to pull away, get another race win, and essentially do just about enough to wrap up in this race, we think, provisionally, the 2021 National Formula 4 title in the pro class. However, looking at the fact that Chris Middlehurst runs with Team Dolan, he has got an ally, of course, in Niall Murray, because, of course, Niall Murray, even though he's a guest driver, doesn't mean that he couldn't make it difficult, as that was a car off the road. That was Jeremy Fairbairn from the Phil Wills entered PWR1 car. He lost it on the exit of Williams Corner, so possibly the curbs and the grass still a little bit sort of drizzly and slippery, given some of the early morning dew and early morning mist and drizzle that we've just had. So that's going to be pretty tricky. So the circuit will be a lot drier than the grass and the parts off the circuit. But that's the purpose, of course, of the second green flag, that to make sure that the drivers have a full understanding of the conditions. You can see there's a couple of damp patches just on the outside off the racing line. So the circuit is drying, but it's not completely dry that we had, not the completely dry circuit that we had yesterday when they were all contesting what was at one point a brilliant close race at the front with the first 9 or 10 cars all together. And so I made a very good comment on one of the Facebook posts yesterday for the Formula 4 Facebook page. I think it was Innes Hickman, who's a Formula 4 driver himself, and he rightfully said if it's this close for the final round at Snetterton, it should mean it will be a barnstormer for the festival. And I think if you can make it in person at the festival on the 30th and 31st of October at Brands Hatch, please do so, because with the fact it's going to be quite a bumper grid of Formula 4s and a mega celebration of the festival itself as it contests its 50th edition. It really is going to be quite a spectacle, not just for Formula 4s and for single seaters, but for British motorsport. And that's a sad sight. That is Jeremy Fairbairn. Now, his car's come to a stop, first of all pointing pretty much the wrong way, but also it's come to a stop at Coram Corner, which suggests that whatever contact he made with the barrier has damaged something on the suspension or the steering, which has forced his car to, when he's trying to warm up or do something, it's forced it to brake, or to, however it's happened, to be pointing in the wrong direction. So
Delayed start. I think that's the noise we're hearing in the background there will be a delayed start while they figure out what they're going to do with that car and whether they'll then have to have a formation lap. It looks like that might be possible.
yeah, so they're going to take some time to recover Jeremy Fairbairn's car. So this is Jeremy's first time racing in the UK. So again, using this as a like, just as the likes of Niall Murray and Adam Quatermain and Andre Castro, who's of course he's here for the first time this weekend also, as part of the Team USA scholarship, along with main championship contender Max Esterson. He will be hoping to try and come back and at the festival and try and do a decent job whilst he's also learning some of the UK circuits at the same time. So I just worked out, looking on the, just working out the points table ourselves here, trying to work out what's going on. So in the scenario, to put a simple scenario here, if Alex Walker wins this race and also happens to get, even with or without the fastest lap of the race, even if Chris Middlehurst is second, and even if Max Esterson gets third, I think even if Chris Middlehurst gets the fastest lap of the race, which would give him 27 points for second place, plus 2 for the fastest lap, so 29 in total, even then, the gap is still between Walker and Middlehurst on drop scores, 41 points on our calculations, provisional calculations, which would suggest, given that there are only a maximum of 34 points up for grabs from the final race, that Alex Walker provisionally would be set as the National Formula 4 champion for 2021, of course subject to any official confirmation and checks and considerations. So unfortunately, just to change subject, Jeremy Fairbairn will not be taking part in the second race, and the PWR1 squad will have to take the car back to the paddock and fix the right front, which you can see has got quite damaged and bent steering. So bent steering and suspension, so some work to do to get that car back to full strength. So it means that whilst it was the ever quick and efficient work from the BRFCC officials and rescue teams and marshals to get the car onto the back of the recovery truck and good stuff. Once it's back on the green flag truck, they'll be able to get it fixed and get Jeremy out for the third race this afternoon to end the 2021 season before they get prepared for the end of season get together that is the 50th festival. So there's an opportunity here then for the teams to quickly move on to the grid and have a quick chat with the drivers and just have a quick check over the cars and things like tyre pressures and what have you, and just to make sure that the cars are in as best condition as possible to get racing underway. And there is Jeremy Fairbairn's car. And if I'm right, I think, me being the anorak that I am, I'm going to show it here. I think that's the ex-Max Maserati car. I think, because I recognise the paint scheme on that car, which I think now had been looked after by Phil Wills' PWR1 effort. So, getting set to hopefully get races underway. And yeah, as Chris rightly pointed out, there will be another green flag lap. And the timing screen is also showing 12 minutes, so it's going to be a 12-minute race because of the fact there's been a bit of a delay. We've lost a couple of minutes, so engines are firing back up. I can hear them outside of the commentary box window. Last couple of checks from the teams as they scamper back over the pit wall. So 12 minutes of Formula Ford racing. There is also a rule in place where, at the race director's discretion, on the first safety car, if there is a safety car, the first safety car that is produced, then they can add an extra 5 minutes to the race time, which is a little bit similar to the rule they have in British touring cars, where they can add laps onto the race. Given if they have add up to 3 laps into the safety car, they can add 5 minutes onto the race time. Given that some drivers will have lost race time on that point. Now then, on that run for the green flag, that Jamie Sharp has not moved from his grid spots. The third place man, Jamie Sharp, has not moved. He's banging the steering wheel in frustration. I can look out the commentary box window. So unfortunately, Jamie Sharp, he's finally getting it just about refired. He's trying to get the car restarted. If he can get some help, I'm not sure if he can get some help from the marshals. I think he has got it restarted. He's still trying. Looking at Joey Foster on the grid, but on the screen. But as for Jamie Sharp, he still hasn't been able to get it going yet. He's just about crawling. Whether it's a clutch issue or something to do with the gearbox, but the car sounds like it's revving, but not actually moving, as if it's possibly either a... In that situation, Chris, thinking about it, would it be either possibly something to do with the clutch, or maybe, dare I say, the drive shaft? Because it's something like he's moving, and the engine's going. I can hear it outside the commentary box window. You can see it on the screen there. It's going and it's revving, but it's not actually moving.
It could easily be that the clutch won't allow a gear selection, or it's just won't go in. I think that's the most likely thing. We've had a couple of starts off of this damp line. You wouldn't normally expect that to put too much pressure on the clutch, but unfortunately he hasn't been able to engage a gear and get it going, even those best efforts, so they're having to push him back through the pit wall.
That's a real shame. You can see there was evident frustration when I was watching at the commentary box window just there a few moments ago. Evident frustration by Jamie in the cockpit. He was thumping the steering wheel, just absolutely gutted that he was having that kind of issue. And the car's been pushed off to the left-hand side of the circuit. As you can see on the camera, they're off to the right, but it was driver's left off the circuit. And unfortunately, the man who was set to start in third place and took third yesterday on the podium will not be taking the start for the second one. That's a real shame. So it will leave a blank spot in third on the grid, and what it will do is give an advantage to the man that was going to start directly behind him on the circuit location wise, and that will be
Is Middlehurst behind him on the grid?
Yeah, Middlehurst. So Middlehurst will get a slightly clearer run down towards Richie's corner off the start, and that means you'll have one less car in front of him, which means you'll have a much more direct chance to aim the car down towards the towards the first corner to try and keep up with a few cars in front. So the red car there was Andre Castro, of course, as we said, is along with Max Esserson, one of the two Team USA scholarship drivers. There is the other one, of course, Max, who is still in contention for the championship and has been having a fantastic full season of racing this year in the UK. His performance so far this year has been pretty strong. If you look at where he's had so far, he's managed to take a victory. He's taken 2 wins this year, one at Anglesey, one at Anglesey, and also one at Silverstone. No, sorry, 2 at Silverstone and 1 at Anglesey. So 3 wins this year. In fact, I correct myself. So he'll be looking to try and add to that if he can move his way through. But he's got to do so from 6th on the grid, and he hasn't really been he hasn't been totally off the pace, but not on the same sort of blistering pace that we've seen him to be right up there exactly with the likes of Walker and Middlehurst. He's been there battling with Middlehurst, but Walker's had a bit more of an edge, and now that he's got pole position again, he might well want to try and possibly put one hand on the title. So, last couple of cars are in place, and the 5-second board goes up. The red lights will go on any moment now. 5-second board does go up. Now, but here we go. The penultimate race of the season for the 2021 Avon Tyres National 404 Championship. All set to get underway at Snetterton. Lights go out. It's a strong start from the front row men, and also a good start from Thomas Mills in the second row of the grid. Charging through is Max Esser from the third row on the outside line as they're down towards Richie's for the first time. So it is going to be a Walker that leads. Murray in second place as they turn their way through. Andre Castro's in there having a battle with Morgan Quinn into turn 1. Everyone seems to have got through relatively cleanly and unscathed. Now they head down towards the hairpin for the first time. So Mills leads, but he's skating all over the place trying to get the grip. It's still a little bit damp and greasy out there, so they're going to try and find the grip as best they can. Morgan Quinn just ignores everybody and just takes the tight inside line to hold on. He finds to his disadvantage that didn't work, and now he's been overhauled by both Andre Lafond and Colin Queen, the other 2 drivers part of the Low Dempsey Racing outfit. As off the road is gone, Alex Walker off the road onto the grass, and his teammate Thomas Mills takes the lead now. So Thomas Mills then into a lead after a mistake from championship leader Alex Walker, and look who's right behind him. Chris Middlehurst, who I suspect possibly has had a bit of a let through by Niall Murray, knowing that Niall is running as a guest. And here comes Middlehurst up the inside line. Middlehurst up the inside into the left-hander at Hamilton's. Could be a change between the 2 championship contenders. Walker takes the outside line, possibly goes a little bit too wide. And now on the exit comes Murray. He looks to try to go back past into third position. Now, of course, remember, wherever Murray finishes will not matter, as he's not going to score points. As off the road it's gone Lucas Romanek, unfortunately. That's right rear suspension damage, I'm afraid, so he's out of it on the spot. Meanwhile, Niall Murray gets stuck in with Thomas Mills. 2 are going to interconnect wheels, and they bang wheels on the exit at Williams corner. Onto the Bentley straight, past both of them goes Chris Middlehurst. Probably a bit bemused as to what was happening there, but that's interesting. But 2 rear gunners, essentially, for both the 2 championship contenders at the front at the moment, Alex Walker and Chris Middlehurst, getting together, which just shows, Chris, there's quite a few tensions at the moment here between this lot, as Chris Middlehurst tries to keep it on the road by slithering wide. But even before we end the first lap, there's been plenty of action and plenty going on in what's been so far a very dramatic opening lap for this title fight.
We thought it was drying out, didn't we? But that shot shows actually some spray coming up, and I think there might have been a rain shower down there or someone bringing water back onto the track. Cars struggling to get on. These cars are so stiffly sprung that any kind of moisture, you can see the rain on the camera there. So we've had a rain shower that hasn't appeared up at this end of the track yet, but is down there at Coreham. So yeah, that caught a lot of them out, and I think even onto the back straight we saw there that they were not expecting it to be so slippy, and the cars were sort of, like you say, interlocking and bouncing wheels, which is not a good thing in these small single-seaters. So
let's just take stock of where we are then, because it is getting a little bit slippery out there. Let's take a look. So Walker's got quite a commanding lead at the end of the first lap. It's Middlehurst second, Mills is up to third, and then Niall Murray's dropped down to fifth position at the expense of Max Esterson. So Esterson is up to fourth position, but they're all going to try and turn in here wheel to wheel between Murray and Esterson. Murray looks round the outside into Riches for the second time and makes the move stick. They're all sliding around and scrabbling for grip, but they can't quite find it. Megan Gilkes also made a decent start as well. She's up to, looks like, sixth position. Yes, she is. So up 4 places off the start is Megan Gilkes. Good start from her. And now she goes up battling away with Andre Castro, who's having a good job also in 7th place for his first time racing in the UK. And now he's got one of the best in the business right behind him, Joey Foster, 3-time Formula 4 champion, and still sporadic Formula Ford racer these days. But Alex Walker, after his early drama in the first race, in fact, no, forgive me, it's Mills that leads the race. My apologies. So Mills actually leads the race. It's now Middlehurst in second place. Walker's down to third, so Walker's behind Middlehurst at this point. So looking at the point scores, it would actually be 27 points for Middlehurst, 24 for Walker, and 22 for Esterson. So I don't think
Middlehurst doing what he needs to do. He's ahead of Walker, but I think Walker needs to still have some bad luck in this race. All he really needs to do is follow Middlehurst through at the moment. But certainly for as much as Middlehurst could do, he moved from that 3rd or 5th place on the grid, but without a car in front of him, straight up into that lead battle. But they're still going side by side, so he's not content just to follow, is he? He's got attacking from behind as well by Esterson there.
And that's going to be crucial because, as far as I can calculate it, I think if Walker loses that to Esterson as well, it still just about, I think, keeps the title fight alive in some cases. So that could be very interesting indeed. But Middlehurst now is doing exactly what he needs to, which is to try and chase after Mills and try and get an extra couple of points. And there's contact between Niall Murray and Alex Walker. The championship could be in trouble. They're interlocking wheels and they're off the road. Alex Walker's off the road and there's contact again. Up into the air goes Alex. This is dramatic for the championship. He does not need this. He's going to lose points and potentially keep both his championship rivals back in the championship hunt. Dramatic stuff in the second race here, and Alex Walker is absolutely in trouble here at this point. Thomas Mills is in the lead, doing what he needs to do to try and take points away from Middlehurst and Esterson. But if both Middlehurst and Esterson can keep on putting in good lap times in these ever-changing conditions, it could be anyone's guess. But Megan Gilkes is up to 4th. We've got Andre Castro 5th. We've got Niall Murray 6th, and Alex Walker is about 9th or 10th. It is disaster for the championship leader.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so slippy around that bit of the track. They have literally got no grip at all going around the Brundle Senna S's there. As soon as those two cars made contact with each other, they're like magnets. They were stuck together. They couldn't get their wheels interlocked. And whilst, it was just two cars sliding into the same bit of the track, because that's what generally happens in these conditions. But great to see them going wheel to wheel, but actually that's cost Alex Walker there quite badly.
So all he can really do is try and recover as quick as he can, and also hope that the drivers around him can take points off his main rivals, because Thomas Mills, essentially, he's doing the best thing he can do, which is go ahead and try to win the race. It'll be his first National Formula 4 race win, if he can manage it, in his debut season. So keep an eye on that. But young Thomas Mills, the son of team boss Kevin Mills, is certainly making the most of his father's well-prepared Spectrum. The chassis manufacturer of Formula 4 is based in Australia these days, and certainly quite renowned over there in Australia. But of course, good to see the Spectrum cars also competing regularly here in the UK. Kevin Mills cars usually pretty much always only Spectrums. And Niall Murray there at the back of that group there, who's getting recovery. I think it's just ahead of there, Alex Walker. So Walker's down to 9th. So ninth position. I'll try and work this out on the points league in a second, because Middlehurst at the moment will get 27 points. And he's also... Right, so Mills has the fastest lap of the race. He's taken the fastest lap of the race at the moment from either Middlehurst or Esterson. He's taken another potential couple of points away from those two drivers. I'm going to go ahead and look back in the regs and double check how many points you get for 9th, so try and work that out. But here you can see that that is Colin Queen who's frustrating Niall Murray there. He's currently set in 8th. Well, no, actually, no, forgive me. There are 2 invitation class cars there, so actually it will be 7th placed points Alex Walker will get. Forgive me, I forgot about that. So Andre Castro and Niall Murray are invisible from the results. So it might be 9th on the road, but it'll be 7th placed points for Alex Walker, which means he'll get the amount of points that you score for P7. So it's all sorts going on in this final race. We know that championship showdowns can be dramatic, but contact between the two, and I know there will be conversations about that afterwards, given the fact that it's one of the two of the rival teams about what was going on there. There'll be differing stories on that, but either way, essentially, the main headline is it really has dramatically shaken up the championship and what could happen here. Potentially, could be taking this at the moment right down to the final race of the season, as Thomas Mills sets another new fastest lap of the race.
The fastest lap over the line. Like you say, conversations always happen afterwards. Whenever there's contact between cars, the stewards always get involved and understand what went on, or the clerk on the course will certainly make a view on that, and we'll sort of listen with interest after that race. But nevertheless, all he can do now is Walker's got to try and make some ground up, but it looks like he has actually dropped a position on that lap. Like you say, he's got some cars that are invisible for points, but he's certainly getting a little bit desperate to try and make his way up there. But Mills looking certainly at the moment like he's got a good lead there, 4 seconds, but Middlehurst equally, if he can get just those a little bit extra speed extracted at the front here, he could well compete for that win.
So 15 points is what Alex Walker would get for basically taking the equivalent points of being 7th, because he finished 9th on the road if he stays where he is. But he stays down to 10th now, so it's 8th. So he's lost a spot to Carter Williams. So I wonder possibly if he's nursing damage on that car, because if he is, he's trying to get around and score what points he can.
We saw the car go up in the air and land badly. It didn't look like it was damaged, but equally the setups are so critical on these kind of cars, especially in these conditions, that a knock like that could have upset something.
Yeah, so that's going to put him down to 8th. So if I quickly double check that again, that means that he would get, as we watch this battle going on here, forgive us if we think we're ignoring the battles, we're absolutely not. We're just trying to work out the championship connotations, because now Niall Murray's got past Andre Castro, and what you've got here, that's Joey Foster battling with Niall Murray. There's a car. That's a car off the road. Now that's Andre Lafond, I think, because Max Eston's still going in 3rd place, and he's pulled off the road because he's still gone through. It looks like we've lost possibly the 62 calling of Andre Lafond off the road there. Alex Walker slowing. Alex Walker, the championship leader's in trouble. He's slowing on the back straight. So issues for Alex Walker that I think possibly could have still been a legacy from that contact. More problems for the championship leader. If he DNFs, he will still get, well, it's not big consolation, he will still get 2 points for non-finishing, but that will be a dramatic blow to his championship. He's pulling to a stop. The championship leader is in trouble. So this will go down to the final race of the season by the looks of things. Mills sets the fastest lap of the race again. It's all he can do now is try and help his teammate, try and keep him in the fight for the championship. But Alex Walker, the championship leader, in trouble after the contact with Niall Murray at the complex of Brundle and Nelson, coming to a stop on the Bentley Straight, and essentially it looks as though Chris all but out of this race.
Out of this race, not out of the championship, but certainly out of this race, and that's exactly what he didn't want to do. He wanted to have a nice buffer and a comfortable race coming into the final event. But yeah, Middlehurst there sitting in 2nd. It doesn't look like he is making any impact. Mills still piling in the fastest lap, so Middlehurst not able to bridge that gap and therefore look for the extra points, which again, it really, really could come down to every single point here.
So that would mean that Alex Walker would have to score 2 points for a non-finish. If it stays as it is, and you have Chris Middlehurst scoring 27 points for 2nd place, and it's Max Eston 3rd, which will give him 24 points for 3rd place. That means, as it currently stands, if Walker's pulled to a complete stop, it means now that Walker only has a 13-point lead on drop scores. Because remember, again, I'll reiterate, you cannot drop any results from any of these three races this weekend, which means Alex Walker has to carry these 2 points as a score in the final championship total, including all the drop scores up until the end of Alton Park. So he cannot drop this result. He has to count it as per the championship regulation, which means means by our calculations, it looks as though it's going to take a 13-point gap between Walker and Middlehurst into the final race of the season, which is pretty dramatic. Now, we've still got a couple of minutes to go or so. Let's look at the racing action on the road.
1 minute to go, Scott.
Well, 1 minute to go. In fact, there's so much going on. I'm trying to get my head around all of this. So Mills, by all of this, has done everything he needs to do to lead this race. 2nd place for Chris Middlehurst as he carries on. His lap times, look at his last lap, he was about 2/10 off, but he's on the same sort of pace as Mills is at the moment. Eston's still in 3rd place. Megan Gilkis having an incredible race up in 4th place. I'm sure this is her best result to date. I'm sure it will be in National Formula 4. It's a great drive for Megan as she continues on to the take fourth in the mix. Niall Murray, who is the top car that's in the guess, is going to hold on. Meanwhile, the checker flag is going out a couple of seconds early. He's Thomas Mills, who sets another new fastest lap of the race, takes victory in the second of the weekend's Avon Tyres National Formula Ford races. Chris Middlehurst will pick up second place and 27 points. And then it's Max Esterson who will take 24 points for third. They're across the line quick as you like. Gilchrist, Queen and Murray together. And look at Megan Gilchrist punch in the air. She is delighted with fourth place. And so she should be. That, I believe, is her best result of the season. So great job from Megan. A wonderful drive in those adverse conditions to get fourth place. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, her best result so far up to that has been about 6th or 7th place. So to get P4, she should be, and absolutely is, ecstatic with that result. Great drive from Megan. 5th for Colin Queen, 6th for Niall Murray, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of conversations after that between the contact between Murray and Walker on that one, particularly as it's going to have championship connotations, as it has had championship connotations. Then you've got Joey Foster in 7th place, Andre Castro in 8th, and then the rest of the cars rounding out the top 10. Forgive us if we sounded a bit all over the place there, but literally the whole focus of a championship battle was changing as it was lap by lap, particularly after the contact with Murray and Walker. But the non-finish for Alex Walker means that he only scores 2 points as a result, and means it's going to take it down to the final race. So Thomas Mills wins a dramatic second National Formula Ford race here at Snetterton, with Chris Middlehurst crucially in second place, Max Esterson in third, and then Megan Gilchrist over the moon with her best result ever in National Formula Ford with fourth. Then Colin Queen, Niall Murray, Joey Foster, Andre Castro, Carter Williams and Morgan Quinn. And Benjamin Cochran was the last finisher. And crucially, Alex Walker, non-finisher. And also, as was Andre Lafond, Adam Quartermain, Jamie Sharp, who didn't start the race sadly, Lucas Romanek and Jeremy Fairbairn, who also had an issue on the formation lap as well. Unbelievable fortunes here in the second Formula Ford race. The last race of the season this afternoon will provisionally decide who comes away with the title. 13 points in it now, we believe, but we'll confirm all that and look at it for our next race later on this afternoon.